All right. I am going to show you about Pearson now. So, if you've used Pearson in the past, you may have to, this is going to be a little different than what we did before. So we're going to have this part here. It says Active Pearson. We don't have that module that's set inside the class anymore. And when you open it, hopefully it's going to do it. You may have to create a new account. Do not worry about that. If you happen to have an old account, you can try the old account information. It may work. But if you had been using Pearson at any of the Alamo colleges recently, it's a good chance that you're going to have to create a new account. Of course, if you think you already have one, you can do, forget your username and password. But if you have not seen this Access Pearson before, you will probably have to create a new account. So just to show you, it's not, you don't have to pay for anything. If you see something that says you have to pay, email me immediately because you should not have to. Your tuition is covering this. So fill this in, all your information, don't forget it, and then you're going to create your account. All right. Well, I have to go to teacher view because I can't make me an account. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'm not going to be able to. So I go, ideally, this is kind of what you're seeing. You probably won't have all the stuff about a grade sync or anything, but you should have open my lab and mastery. Like I said, this part might look a little different for you because I can't do this in student mode. But what you should see when you come in here, you should see your assignments. So that Pearson test is there. So like I said, all your assignments that are currently open, you should see in here. You notice that you do not see your exam. That's because your exam hasn't opened yet. When we get to, I think it's like the 23rd or something like that, that should show up. Your exam will show up, it will appear in here when we need it. So if, because sometimes this happens with links and Canvas, two things are likely to happen. You do this inverse function assignment, and then you go back to open it, and it says you can't open it even though it's not September 30th yet. So if that happens, you want to go to Active Pearson and you want to open the assignment from here, wherever it is. There it is. The other thing that could happen is that it gets past the due date, and let's say it's October 1st, and you realize that you had like 3 questions left and you still want to finish the assignment. This link will not open. You will have to go here and do it, and then I think regardless, it will always tell you that there's a grading penalty after a due date. So if it's before the due date, don't panic. It's just warning you. But after due date, it'll tell you as well, but it'll impose a grading penalty. So there's a lot of stuff that'll lock assignments in Canvas. If you go to Access Pearson, all those assignments are open. If you do a quiz, just a second, let me see why the quiz won't open. Okay, so we get a learning opportunity here. So these were not opening because my pop-up blocker was on. So if you can't open assignment, that means pop-up blocker is on. So make sure that's off. Other thing that might lock you out of this is you might have to delete your cookies. So I had to turn off my blocker. Now I can open up a quiz. As you see, it'll tell you how much time is left. It'll tell you how many attempts. So all you have to do is start the quiz. So I'm going to just submit it and not do everything. I'm going to get a terrible grade on this quiz is what's going to happen. If I exit, the pop-up blocker is causing me issues here. If I exit and I try to open it again, they'll tell me now that I have one attempt used and then I can use it again. So if you want to use those 2 attempts, you're going to have to do it from Access Pearson. Same thing with exams. We'll do a similar thing. We'll do a similar thing once we submit it. So just to show you homework though. The homework, as you notice, I have no submit button. I have a save button, but usually it automatically does everything. So if you do open up an assignment, you'll see this little part here. This is a little different than the way it used to be. This will help you find different kinds of templates. So if you actually needed a fraction template, you have one. If you needed some absolute values, if you need to do matrices, if you need certain symbols or certain Greek letters, it gives you those so you can do it. And if you do that, you can move it out of the way if you needed to. So this one, if I check my answer, yay, it's green. I did it. I'm all done. Okay. I could try to see a similar question I wanted to. Let's go to next. This is going to go into the next part of the question, or next question we have here. So we got -1 and 4. So that one's going to be -1. Okay. Let's go to a different question here. Okay, there we go. If it's not in the right spot. So you'll see here, you guys a little check mark because we did it right. It was scrolling down, so I wasn't in the check mark. Little green check mark. So we're going to do this one wrong. Okay. So here it says tries left. So I had 3 tries initially. Let me go to another one, like 81. See, it starts out with 3 tries. They're answering them wrong. Okay, we have 2 tries left. It tells me down here it's incorrect. And it'll try to help me explain what's going on here. We do this one more time. Incorrect. And now I can't put any more answers in, but it tells me what the correct answer is. So what you could do is to see similar. And then I can do it again. So as you see, now I have a correct answer. So now this one is filled in. Let me go back. So originally it was wrong, but now it's filled in. This one's half done, so that's why it's like that. I attempted it. Okay, so I just wanted you to know that. Other things you can do, help me solve this. Help me solve this walks you through like a step-by-step of how to do the problem. You still have to go back here and put in the correct answer. So don't let this fool you into thinking that you actually did the problem. You didn't. You also have an example, so that'll show you an example of the problem. You'll also have this get more help. So you can ask the publisher. I think there's a few other things that will pop up in here. It depends on the question. But the important part is ask my instructor. This is the part I really want you to know about because if you get stuck on a problem, um, and a lot of times, I'll be honest. So a lot of times, if you are not getting the right answer, it's not the question. It is probably something that you did, but you want to send it to me anyway. Because sometimes what it is like you answered in the wrong format or you left a space in there or something like that. If you do things like that, I can go back and correct it or tell you what you need to correct. If you totally do understand a problem, you can tell me what part of it is you don't understand. So I always suggest that when you send a message, tell me what it is you have a question about. Is it, I know I have the right answer. I don't know why it's not accepting it. If you tell me that, I know instantly to go check your answer, check its answer. If they look the same, I go, oh, well, this is what's going on. Because otherwise, usually what happens if you don't tell me why you sent me the question, I assume you didn't understand how to do it, and I explain the whole question. Which takes up a lot of time for both of us and doesn't fix the actual problem. So if you can, tell me what it is you're having a problem with. Even if it's like, I understand, these parts of how to solve this problem, but I don't understand this one step. Just tell me what that one step is so I can go through and look at it. I may ask you to like send me your written work on one of these questions. If I do that, please send it through the email. Don't send it through something else so I can go back and look at that. But for the most part, when you do this, tell me what is your problem with, you send it to me, it goes right to my email. It was sent to me. And then I should answer those. So if you don't get answers back on those, just send me an email going, hey, I sent you this question. I never heard back because occasionally something happens to these. Um, that was for the most part what I wanted you to see is that. And like I said, you see the save and it's telling me I have 12.5. I didn't push save yet. It's just automatically doing it. But if I want to, I can hit save and then it's going to take me out of this. And if I want to, I can go back and resume. And like I said, it's going to have the see late policy. So there's been a lot of, like I said, updating to Canvas. So I just want to kind of briefly go through the Canvas, or not the Canvas, I'm sorry, the My Math Lab. Your textbooks is in here. I'll show you another place your textbook is. But you do get a textbook with your My Math Lab. You just say, go, like I said, here, ebook contents, open ebook. And then we spend forever waiting for the book to open. This is your entire book. If you go over here to the table, you can go to whatever section it is maybe you want to do the assess your learning. Maybe you're just interested in graphing functions. You can go right to that section. But if I wanted to go back another section, I can go page backwards if I wanted to. I don't know why it's not changing the names. It's telling me right there what page I'm going to, but there you go. Wasn't changing. You can also bookmark a page and then go back to your bookmarks and it will be there. There is related study materials. Nobody has told me if they use these, but there's things in there like your videos and stuff like that. So this is like functions. This is relations and functions. And then this gives you an example. So there's also these videos in here if, um, like my video wasn't good enough for you, which happens sometimes, that's fine. There's these videos here as well and some practice problems if you need extra practice problems. Oh, that's right. And it makes flashcards for you. I forgot about that. You can actually make some flashcards. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, no flashcards for this chapter. That's why. Oh, okay. Create your own. That's what we needed. You can actually create your own flashcards if you needed to. I forgot this one. You have to create your own. All right, and that's kind of like the quick version of using your Pearson. Like I said, there's been some changes. Mostly it's that change in the login. You're probably going to have to create a new login. I just ask it when you create a new login, try to use your college email because that's what you're supposed to do. Like I said, we can't exactly regulate that. And if you already used it and you forgot your login information, you might use something else. But please, if you can, try to use your college email. And even if you've used Pearson before through Alamo Colleges in another class, don't think that necessarily that you have an account because the change of integration has changed how the accounts hook up. So before you didn't actually have a Pearson account, this time you actually create a Pearson account. So if you end up going someplace else, you'd still have a Pearson account. Um, but yeah, like I said, let you know that's the basics of how to use it. If you, once again, you have any questions, let me know. But there's always like that, ask your instructor. If you ever have a question on a particular problem, send that to me because it sends me the problem you're working on. Not everybody gets the same version of the problem. That's why you have that get similar problem. You can start over again because there are several versions of every problem. So it's easier if you just send that to me because then I can look at your version of the project problem that you were looking at. But like I said, if you have any more questions, just let me know.